But how about the execution? How hard is it to find great talent in different parts of the world? What's your experience? And I know you mentioned a story of when you were working in Rappi, and it's because when we think about great talent, in the tech world, we think about Silicon Valley, but there's a lot of Silicon Valley equivalents in across the world, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I think one of the things to think about, right, is just, again, people all over the world are fairly similar, right? And it's intelligence is distributed, um, opportunities not. And so, what I see is that you still see a lot of great tech talent in countries like Colombia, in countries like Mexico, in Argentina, in Brazil, right? And the talent itself is probably on par with what I saw out in the U.S. and maybe even sometimes better, right? To be honest, I felt like a lot of the engineers that I worked with in across LATAM were, you know, hungrier and more motivated and really wanted to build something. Whereas, um, maybe it's because of what they're working on or the projects. I didn't necessarily see that same hunger in the U.S. Um, but opportunities not right. So what does that lack of opportunity mean? And sometimes it just means they need extra guidance, right? Sometimes it means that they haven't been there before. They don't have that experience to lean on. When you think about, they sometimes talk about something like the PayPal mafia, right? And how successful a lot of those people have become. And I think the reason why those people became successful, part of it was they were smart and talented people before, but they all got put together in a situation where it was kind of them against the world, and they had to like fight and learn and grow and make something happen. And so those skills around how do we build a business kind of got ingrained in the people that were there, and then they took those same tactics to these other places, right? And they took that same knowledge to these other places. And so when you think about LATAM, there hasn't necessarily been that PayPal yet, right? We're starting to see more and more companies become unicorns, become bigger things, become success stories. And we're starting to see the people that work there that had to learn how to adapt, how to be scrappy, how to think about, different rounds of financing, how to manage a team, how do you scale your team, how do you prioritize? All these skills, are being taught. And so it's not just a question of like, okay, the technical talent. I think the technical talent is probably there, and you can have guys that are and girls that are incredible geniuses anyway. But if you don't have that kind of experience and that knowledge, it's hard to really hit your peak. But now we're starting to get that knowledge. We're starting to get that experience, and part of it's going to be from their own experience and their own exposure. But part of it's also going to come from what I see as a large number of people, that have done this in the Valley and in the U.S. and in Europe, paying attention more to Latin America. And I see more and more people coming in as angel advisors, as angel investors, as advisors, as mentors, as supporters, as accelerator mentors, things like that, and sharing their knowledge, right? Because like you don't necessarily have to go and break 50 things because I already broke those 50 things in my last 5 jobs. And so I can save you some headache. And, obviously there are different markets and there are different, companies, but, you can still go and try things, but maybe I could point you in the direction of the thing that worked for me after doing the 50 things first. And you can start with that one. And if that one works, great. If it doesn't, we could go through the other list of 50 things that I've tried. And, it's the same thing that happens again, in the US, like we had companies and when I was at different companies, we had different products, different product lines, and we had a toolkit that we would go use. And it was toolkits that we had learned from other products that we had and what things worked and what things didn't. And every time we'd have an issue, you kind of go to the toolkit and figure out which one to use. And so now I think we're starting to build out that toolkit for Latin America. And it's not going to be exactly the same as what it is in Europe or China or the US. But again, a lot of things are somewhat similar, right? And so if you're building a similar product, you probably need to focus on those things that are in that general same wheelhouse as the things that work in the other markets. Um, so I'm extremely bullish on Latin America and all these emerging markets because you know, the talent is there, uh, the expertise is coming, and the opportunity is huge. And I think when you put, you know, hardworking, dedicated people, matching it up with the advice and expertise that's been there before, I think we have to win, right? I mean, never speak optimistic about the future, but I really think that we have to win. I really think that, you know, we've seen in the last 20 years, the middle class has doubled, right, across Latin America. I'm expecting it to continue to grow. I'm expecting these people to now want those everyday services and everyday things that people, the middle class of the U.S. have had for 40 or 50 years, right? Like, I don't think they're going to continue to um, allow themselves to be mistreated. So that's you know kind of what I'm trying to do, and you know, there's so many things that's you know are amazing about Latin America. There's so many things where it's just like, why is this still like this? Like this is something that you know we stopped doing, you know, X number of years ago, right? Um, so I'm personally just really excited about that.